right? It can use memory and context to be able to personalize responses and improve over time. So these are the features I've been able to these are the things I've summarized about the features of what we have as something that you can look out for. So when you're saying when you're unsure whether I should call this an agent or not, because there's been controversies of, oh, maybe this is an assistant, maybe this is just a conversational chatbot or that. Um, so if you're still confused about, whether to label something an agent or not, you can just watch out for these features to be able to decide if I can, confidently say, oh, this is an agent or it's not. Right. Then now that we've, gotten that out of the way regarding what AI agents are, let's not talk about, okay, how do we build AI agents, right? What platform can I use to be able to say, okay, today I want to be able to build my own agent that can plug into my own data and I can, use it to be able to take actions for me, right? So I've today we have the low code, no code platforms, which probably, if you're familiar, people call agent builders. And for these ones, you can be able to, it allows you to be able to build AI agents quickly and without having to worry about learning any code. So that's why it's called low code, no code. I don't have to worry about if I'm a developer or not. This is very accessible, meaning anyone can be able to now build their own agents using these platforms. And examples of these platforms are Microsoft Copilot Studio, which we're going to be using today. And then we also have some around like in A10, Make.com, Voice Flow, in case if you have used any of those or heard about any of those. So this is the category find them in. Then we now have those that are very code-centric for those that love to code, and for the seasoned developers among us. And sort of these people, don't call it agent builders, they call it agent frameworks. So in case if you've been hearing about LangChain, Semantic Canal, AutoGen, and the very latest new one, Microsoft Agent Framework, and you've been wondering what it is, it's literally just the same platform that maybe I'm trying to use to create um, an agent, but this time around, this is going to be um, very, very flexible, very customizable because you're writing the code from scratch if you want. Okay, hopefully I've not lost anyone. So now I'm going to Copilot Studio because like I said, today, most of what we're going to be doing is Copilot Studio. And I've mentioned it before that Copilot Studio is part of the no-code, low-code platforms that we can use to build AI agents. It is actually one of the very few enterprise-ready agents. So meaning that you can be able to create agents within the ecosystem of Microsoft 365 and Microsoft 3, not only Microsoft 365, literally entire Microsoft, right? So, and if your company has already been in this ecosystem, this then makes it way easier for anybody in the company to be able to build an agent to help, you know, people to do things. Like no one, you don't have to worry about, oh, we need a developer to be able to help us create this simple expense tracking tool or something. Now, anybody can spin up an agent to be able to do that, right? And then it uses generated answers to be able to chat over your data. So in the shortest amount of time, you can plug in your data sources, which we are going to go over. And you can see that, oh, I can start asking it questions, just like a normal maybe Q&A chatbot, but this time around, it's going to be giving you smarter answers. And then you can easily integrate it with lots of tools and plugins that we're going to see. And you can store your data securely in Dataverse. And you can extend it to as much as all the different other things in the ecosystem, right? So, but lots of talking. Let's go into action. I think we should just go into Copilot Studio itself so we can see this for ourselves. So for our demo today, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be building a travel assistant. I have actually created this in like a lab format, but it's on GitHub. It's just a readme file so that you can be able to go through it on your own in case if you can follow along with me, which I know most people struggle with. So we would drop this on the chat, and Med is going to drop the link to this on the chat. If you want to follow along, that would be nice. But also, if you want to go through it during your own time, you can, just go through everything in there. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and then we head over to Copilot Studio, where we'll be doing everything we have to do today. A moment. Sure. Okay. I mean, if you can help me drop the link to the lesson
Yeah, I've dropped the link already. Yeah.
You.
Do you have the link in the chat? Enter the link. Oh.
You want me to share the link on the chat?
Yeah, I've shared it already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Okay. Yeah, I think you can. Oh, okay. I'm supposed to share. Wait, I don't. Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? Can you share now?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. So now we are at Copilot Studio, and while we are waiting for this to load, hope this demo goes well.
Probably want to refresh your page sometimes.
That's what.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, while it's loading, it's gonna load. Hopefully, it's definitely gonna load. So today we're going to be creating an agent with the Copilot Studio. We would so one of the first things we're going to do is collecting inputs. We're going to use something called adaptive cards to be able to collect inputs. And it's more like maybe you want to collect inputs in form of like a form fashion, especially if you want more like a structured input and you don't want to rely so much on free text. So that's the goal of just showing that around. And then we're going to be generating responses using AI prompts. We would also be grounding our answers with knowledge sources. So one of the things we're going to do first is to be able to add some knowledge sources on, for some sort of our own custom knowledge sources, because we just wanted to always get answers from this particular knowledge and from this particular source. And then we would try to see how we can store conversation details in the memory so that we can use it across different things called topics. And that's something else we'll be exploring today. We'll be exploring something called topics in Copilot Studio, which is really, really nice. And finally, we would try to see how we can set up approvals via Power Automate and then plug it into our agents. Right. So that's the goal. Okay, this is loading. Thank you. Close. So over here, you can see this is I just went to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Again, if you're following the lab, you'll be able to easily just click on the link. Yeah, it's showing some agents I've created recently. So if you see, I've been playing around, but I'm going to create a new one from scratch today, following along. But also one thing I wanted to share is the fact that we have you don't have to always create your agent from scratch if you want them. If you feel like there are things here that could help you. So what I mean is that there are some templates. So you could start an agent with some of the templates that are here. And then when you click on any of the templates, so for example, maybe I want to create an agent that is a website Q&A, which most people do very often. So this has been sort of added with maybe some things that are generic to everyone. And then you can now add your own customization to it. You can add your own knowledge, you can add different your own tools to it. So that way you just don't have to start from scratch if some of these things are going to cater to your need, right? That was just something to call out, but we are not going to do that today. We are going to create ours from scratch. I'm going to click on new agent. And I'm going to name our agent travel agent. But just because I've created one before called travel agent, I'll rename this to travel agent demo so we can easily identify it. And you can describe your agent so it's very easy for people to identify also when you share it and also for you. Then for these instructions, I generally don't like to use the instructions. I mean, the whole point is, you can describe what you want your agent to do, and it's going to intelligently help you create the agent. But the whole point of this is to customize things, right? So we're going to skip that for now. When you are trying yours, you can try it. I'm just going to skip all of this and just go to create, right? Because you can always add all this back, when you create the agent. But so we're going to create the agent. Okay, so now our agent's created. Again, very bare bone empty agent. And so one of the first things we want to do now is to add knowledge sources. Because like I said, the best thing about this is that you can customize it to be able to work with your own data, right? So now I want to add that knowledge source so that you can be able to get information from the data I'm providing to it. And how you can do that, there are these tabs over here. Actually, let me just quickly run over the tabs. So this is your overview page where you have all the information, everything you had, you're going to be able to easily access it from here. Then you have the knowledge tab where you can add knowledge, where we'll come back to. Then you have tools where you can add different tools that we had mentioned during the presentation. Then this agent tab is, at the point if you want to create multi-agent workflows, you can add maybe a new, like I said, you can add, agents that can work together to complete a flow. Literally, that's what it is. So, and then topics, that's something we're also going to, work towards today. You will see some existing topics that is also created, that is always created, the custom ones based on the description, the instructions you've given to it. We didn't give it instructions, but it's going to figure it out. Then those are system ones that you can, enable off and on if you don't want a particular sort of topic. Essentially, a topic is just literally a flow of, okay, somebody triggers a particular thing. Like if you look at this topic, so it says when it's triggered by goodbye, right? Or somebody says bye, thank you, anything, it triggers this sort of workflow. So essentially it's more like a workflow. And I think if you've played around with Power Automate a lot, you'll see that this is almost looking similar to something like that, right? It's like, okay, I'm triggering it with the flow, and then it does this, and this. So that's essentially what the topic is. Like we start a discussion topic and then we go through the different flows of the discussion topic and we can end the discussion topic. That's essentially what it is, right? And activity, this is where you get to see all the interactions, people are having, you or others are having with your agent, and also analytics, data around it. Channels, this is where if I want to publish my agents, what are the different channels I want to deploy my agents on. Teams, Microsoft 365, this is the popular one where it shows up on the Copilots, Microsoft 365 Copilots sort of pane. And for Teams, you can have it like an app. And then SharePoint, there are different like channels depending on the ones your company sort of supports. Right? Yeah, so that was just a quick overview of the studio. So going back to our knowledge source, so which we want to do. So what I want to do now is, again, we are creating a travel assistant. One of the things I would like our travel assistant to have is to be able to give accurate data and information when somebody asks about things regarding travel, things regarding visa restrictions, travel around a particular country and all that. It would be nice for it to give accurate information, right, that people can rely on. So what I've done is I want to add knowledge from a particular some public websites. So there are some sites that I've identified that they are usually maintained and they give accurate information. So I wanted to always point to this sites for general information around travel, right? So I'm going to click on public websites and just add a link. So I'm using travelstate.gov. I'm also adding, some country specific links. So you can also add this country. This one is around Canada. You can add one around US if you are flying to the US. Like depending on where your, users are based. So and then I'm just going to click on add agents. Yeah. So now you can see that this is listed as part of my sources. One other thing to call out is there are different sources you can have. You can upload a file. Literally, if you have maybe your documentation that you've written, and then you just want to be able to create a quick agent that people can just, chat with that documentation and be able to get smart answers, you can just upload the file. You can also add your SharePoint site if most likely if you're using Microsoft, if you're in Microsoft ecosystem, you use SharePoint a lot. So you can easily add the links, and there are other different sources you can add. And it also even gives you suggestion if you want, I should stop clicking those things. But yeah, okay, no suggestion I really for me. Anyways, so those are the two sources I'm just going to add for now, just to, because of time, but you can add as much as you want, right? So let's test the sources we've just added. And remember, I added something around travel around Canada. So I want to test that. So I'm going to say, do I need a visa to travel to Canada, right? And it should give me a response. Yeah. So it's searching through my knowledge sources. and it's able to get a response from that particular knowledge source, right? And you'll be able to see where it actually got that data from. So it's able to ground itself in the source I gave to it and provide answer based on that. So that's about knowledge. Now, I talked a lot about topics. Let's start by creating a topic. So for our travel assistants, one of the things we wanted to do is to be able to help employees plan a trip, right? And employees, when they have business trips, either for conference, for meeting with clients, or for sales calls, they should be able to come around here, tell it that, oh, I just need to quickly, plan a trip to this place. And it should be able to give them a detailed itinerary. It should also be able to give them a budget friendly itinerary, not just detailed itinerary. So it gives them some budget around around flights, around accommodation, maybe some sightseeing if the company allows, and then it gives them the itinerary. Right? So that's what we are going to do now. So we're going to head over to topics. So I'm going to close this, head over to the topics tab, and then click on add a new topic. And we will click on from blank. You can add a topic from, describing what you want. Again, it's going to smartly try to help you create that topic based on your description. You can try that on your own. So first of all, let's name this topic called plan a trip. Now, for every topic, I'd mentioned that there's something has to trigger it, right? A goodbye, welcome, something has to trigger it. So what's going to be our trigger for this topic is going to be maybe when somebody mentions something around, oh, help me plan my business trip, or I want to travel, or I need help booking travel, something around that. So you see, you're saying describe what the topic does so that it can be able to infer when to trigger this topic. So I'm just going to drop this description that says this topic helps employees to plan a business trip. It guides them to enter their travel destination, budget, number of days, and these are example requests they can have, right? So now that tells the agent when to, automatically trigger this topic and start it. So I'm going to save at every point just because I've learned the harder way. If anything happens, I just lose everything. So if you see me saving, that's why. So now let's add a new node. And here we're going to be adding something called adaptive card. So I did mention this in, I think, the presentation where I said this allows you to be able to still collect information in a structured format. So if you feel like, oh, I don't want to give that blanket check to my employees, I still want them to be able to answer me, give me this particular response so that I know how to structure, so that the agent knows how to structure the itinerary is going to give to them. You can create something like that's like form-like. It's called adaptive card. And how you do it is you just have this adaptive card, it's a card, and then you click on edit adaptive card. You can either edit the schema if you want directly, or I just prefer, using JSON to be able to do everything. Yeah, you can do drag and drop to be able to create whatever kind of form you want to create, but we're going to go with the JSON format today. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. And then what this is saying is that it's just a quick form where I want the person to fill in their destination, the budget they have, the number of days to travel, and their purpose, right? And we are going to set this. Yeah, this save has some weird things happening, so I'm just going to close. Usually when you click on save, it saves. I don't know why it doesn't just close automatically, but so now you can see that it's added it to our flow and we can quickly test it. But let's save it first. So, yeah.
Can you increase your zoom in your screen? I think.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You can just show 3 dots and bar. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. Fine.
Is this better?
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah. Yep.
105, 150. Okay, let's leave that
Yeah, it's
150.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay,
Good.
sounds good. Yeah, so now let's quickly test this adaptive card we just added, and let's just say I want to plan a business trip, right? And I'm expecting it to just pull up the form for me to enter my details. And it's pulling up this form, so I'm just going to add some details. I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to, where would be a nice destination to go to? Let's say we are going to Montego Bay. I know they don't do business conferences there, but it's a nice destination. And I think you can even add as much as maybe the city, everything if you feel like, if you don't want it to get confused, but let's just test the smartness. And then I can add my budget as 2,000, the number of days for travel, 5. Travel, I'm just going to assume there is a conference happening there. It's possible to have conferences over there. So, and I'm just going to click on generate travel plan. Now it's not going to do anything because we didn't plug it into anything. So it's just worried. So I'm just going to close this. So we are back to this topic. Now we know that we can create a form. So what do we do with the details we get from the form? So this is where we now had an AI prompt to be able to generate our itinerary based on that information it has gotten from the user. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a new card, but this time around, I'm going to add a tool. So, and you can see there are different tools here you can add. You can add an agent, a flow. I think this is Power Automate Flow. So, but we're going to be adding a new prompt. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is to rename this, just because I don't want to always get confused with different things. And then we are going to give it instructions on, what it should, what the prompt should be, and what it should help me sort of search regarding, search about. So this is going to be our instruction. We are telling it that you are a travel assistant helping, an employee plan a business trip, suggest the travel plan for days, destination, budget, and include flights, cost, all those things, stories, and then present it as a friendly numbered itinerary with emojis. So one of the things you need to note here is that these are just placeholders. You need to actually make this a real placeholder indeed for the for Copilot itself to be able to understand this prompt. So what we are going to do is to make this an input. So we're going to say this is going to, all these are going to be inputs. So this is days. And I'm going to put some sample data so that we can test it over here before we even go there. And this is going to be destination. So you see input test. I'm going to change this to destination. I'm testing this. I'm just going to test it out. And budget as well. So for input, you just need to put the slash button and then just brings out this pop-up form and then tells you to be able to put your inputs. So I'm just gonna, and then I'll keep purpose, test, this. Again, it will figure it out. So now I'm gonna test. So that was why I had those sample data just for me to be able to easily test here. So I don't have to wait before I run the entire thing before I can test it. Okay, and you can see it's returned back that friendly, budget, that budget friendly itinerary. It says flights and arrival should be around this, and accommodation options and dining options. And at the end of the day, it's giving me that budget summary. And I can be able to send this if I want, right? So we're gonna save this. Again, you can always tweak it if you feel like this is not the response you're expecting, or the way Copilot can be. Oh, already some screen. Wait, just one. Okay. So now we have our prompts that is going to take input from what the user is going to give to us. I'm going to use that input to be able to curate a response for us and curate an itinerary for us, right? So, okay, it's saved. Yeah. So now for you to be able to actually map, for it to be sure of what inputs to, get, what we're going to do is to map the outputs we got from, our user form. We're going to call it user form and map it to the input of the prompts. So I'm going to do that by clicking, just mapping destination, yeah, the destination coming from the output, the budget, this budget purpose to this purpose, and then this, right? So now it's mapped everything. So also we now have an output that this is generating for us. Remember, it's supposed to generate an itinerary for us, a budget-friendly itinerary based on the input. So it's saving that into this output. So one of the things we want to do is to also save this output, right? So that we can reuse it. So we're going to create a new variable where it's going to save that output in. Now, when we click here, it can rename the variable. We're going to rename the variable as this. Okay. Yeah, that's saved. And we can save it. So now we've saved our outputs, which is our itinerary, right? We want to be able to return this itinerary back to the user in the chat. So we're going to say, oh, send a message. We're going to be using the send a message card for that. And in this message, what I want to do is to just output this variable, right? So, but I'm going to do that by clicking on this. It says insert variable, and then I'm going to say travel output.txt. So now we have our output saved. So let's test this. So I've saved everything. So let's test. So back here, I think I'm just going to run this again. Okay, or let's see if this would work. Generate travel plan. Oh, that worked. Okay. You can use the existing form. Yeah. So you can see it takes that input and helps me to be able to run the prompt and then comes back with this detailed itinerary, right? So now we have our itinerary. We have 6 minutes more. Let me see if we can quickly because one of the things I also wanted us to do is, we have this itinerary. Let's say I'm fine with this itinerary. I think Copilot, this my agent is actually smart and it has done everything well. Again, this is the bare minimum. You would probably want to improve on it a lot. But let's say it's all good and fine, and I'm like, whenever everything is good, I want you to just send a request for approval to maybe my manager or anything. But I want this request to just be, you calling a flow that already exists, like a Power Automate flow or anything. So we can also do that by creating a new topic. So I've saved this. This is fine. So we can go to topics. This is my planet trip topic. I can create a new topic. Now, this new topic is going to be called Send the Trip for Approval. Why I'm making it a separate topic is just that, again, you may want to reiterate on this planning sort of topic. I may feel like, oh, this is not right, or remove this option. I don't like this dining option. You want the user to have that flexibility to do whatever they want. And then when they are ready to send the approval, they send the trigger message again, right? And in this case, our trigger message is going to be something around, okay, submit this trip request for approval, right? And then it comes here. And when it does this, after it does this, I want it to be able to call a particular flow. So I had created before now, I created this flow on Power Automate. It's called an approval flow. And all it does is, I'm just waiting for it to load up. I actually created this from an earlier Copilot I created. So you can literally, I'm going to show you that you can create it from still running your, like from this agent pad, but also you can create it on, Power Automate separately if you want, and just be able to call it across maybe different agents. So let me show you. So what this flow does is, you can see the trigger here is when an agent calls the flow. So it's expecting, a particular agent, which is going to be our agent at this point, to call the flow, and it's expecting a particular input from that flow. Mm. So it's expecting a particular input, and then it's going to pass the input into a JSON format, and then it's going to create an approval. So it's going to, there's something called approvals in Power Automate, and it's going to create that entry. So anyone can just go down and just approve. And it's just going to respond to the agent that, oh, your request has been sent for approval, check back to the update. So that's the response going to send back to the agent. And, that should be. So that's what this flow is about. So this is what I mean by the approvals. So it's supposed to just have something like this, that is just going to have a list that is coming in as people are just sending the approval, and people can just approve whenever they want. So that's what we want our agent to be able to do for us. Just help me send this approval, and I don't want to, worry about it. So I'm going to come back over here. But before doing this, one of the things I want to do is to save the agents. I want to be able to save some data in sort of memory, so that this agent can be able to use this data to call this flow, right? You can see that the flow is expecting a trip response in a JSON format. So I want to be able to create that kind of form JSON and pass it over to the Power Automate flow, right? So how we're going to do this is, first of all, I need to So I'm going to be able to say, first of all, I'm going to add a prompt. So we go to tools, new prompts, and then I'm going to tell it that you are preparing a trip. So what I've just said is, you're preparing a trip, requires from my manager approval, extract the details from the conversation context and variables. Like, I want you to extract things in this, variable format, and use the most recent card values, blah, 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 and all those kind of things. So I'm going to name this extract trip details from JSON context. Just going to use the word demo. So and I don't want to test because I didn't literally. Okay, I'm going to come back here. So let's just save this for now. Okay. So what I'm expecting it to do is to be smart. It's an intelligent system, to be smart enough to be able to get, all this information from this test and pick out the things it's supposed to do and just pass it into this JSON format and save it there, right? You should be able to, pick out this destination, budget, all those things, accommodation and all that. But I don't think I've trained my agent to be smart to that level. So what we're going to do is to ensure that at least some details are always there, right? Remember that we collected this destination, budget, travel, and purpose in a form format. We correct in a structured format, so we can always have that data, right? So what we are going to do is to go back to this data and then make it accessible to us in the other topic. So what I mean is right now we have two topics, right? In this topic called plan a trip, when we get this input details in the structured form, what we want to do is that all these inputs data, we want it to be accessible by any topic. So before I clicked on topic, limited scope, meaning that it's only this topic that has access to this input data, right? Now let's make it global so that any topic can access it, right? And you can, play around, allowing to carry between sessions, all those kind of things. So I'm going to do that for everything. Global, purpose, global, days, global. Yeah. I'm going to save. I'm also going to make the prediction output global. So I can tell it to use data from the prediction output. Okay. So now we would go back to our send trip request for approval. And yeah, okay. So yeah, we go back to our model. So for each of these ones, I'm now going to replace actual data with it. So I'm going to say test. Going to also do the same thing we did before, right? Destination and all that. So this is going to be destination. This is going to be budget. This is going to be days. And purpose. I think those are the things we have, right? I know we have last time, just bear with me. So, but for the rest of the data, I would want you to infer it from the prompt output that we got, right? If you remember. So I would say extract the user, blah, blah, blah. Then also you can use data from the, so I'm going to add the prompt. No, we call that prompt output something. So let's just use the name travel plan output. So we're going to tell it to try to get more information from this travel plan output. Okay, so let's hope this works. I'm going to save this. I didn't test it, so hope it works. So now it's having, it's expecting some inputs just like we did the last time. So I'm just going to pair it with all those global data we have. So we have destination, we have budget, we have purpose already, we have days. Then this travel plan output is that output data we have, right? So I'm going to make it a test. Yeah. Good. So now this is the model. Again, we'll do the same thing. We're going to save whatever output it gets into a new variable. So we're going to call that variable trip memory. Just we'll just make it global in case, but you can always change that to anything. Then we save. So now we already have a prompt that's going to pass our data into JSON format that we can use to call our flow. Before calling our flow, one of the things I want to do is to create a variable, right? Variable management. I want to ensure that we save this output data into an actual variable that our flow can use. So I'm going to set the variable name as trip memory. And then the value would be the JSON that we created of trip memory JSON. Yeah. Okay, let's save this. Let's see if this works. Okay, great. So now I'm going to plug this into our Power Automate flow that I showed earlier so that it can actually send that approval whenever we need, right? Whenever I'm ready, just let me send the approval automatically. So how we're going to do that, we're going to say, add a tool. Now you see add new agent flow. You can, if you didn't have any flow before, if you didn't have this Power Automate flow, you can click on new agent flow. It's going to take you to this flows tab for it to create a new Power Automate flow. But I already have the flow existing, so I'm going to say you should just add a new tool. What's happening? So I'm just going to say add a tool, and it should show my flow, approval flow. So I'm going to plug that in as a tool. I'm going to add to the agents. So this is me bringing that Power Automate flow as a tool into my agent now that my agent can now, plug into or interact with. So it's done that, but now, wait, I don't think he added it. Did he add it? And okay, it's just showing up here now. Okay, so now you see that this flow is expecting something. It's expecting, this is the input, it's expecting, and it should expect an input. Oh, okay, yeah. So I need to set the value of the input. Yes. So the input, I'm going to set it as a test, which is going to be our trip memory. The trip memory variable we saved earlier, trip memory.test. And then it's going to call the approval flow, and the approval flow sends an output. So let's save this and test it out. Hopefully it works. So yeah, so let's test it using the same, itinerary we have. So what we are going to do is we're just going to tell it to send this itinerary for approval. And then that should try and call this flow. Let's see, hopefully no errors. Okay, parameter days required to call the prompt, whatever is blank. Okay, I think something is wrong. Let's see if we can do a quick debugging session. I think it's, oh, that's going to be in our model. I know we are fast. So it says the days. Okay, I'm not sure what the issue is, but it still has the days. But yeah, maybe there's something in my Power Automate flow. Mm. Yeah, maybe there's something in my Power Automate flow that isn't working. But um, anyway, let me see. Oh, I did. No, I did set the days. Mm, yeah, that's weird. Anyways, let me just go to the model and see how we can maybe remove that. This is, I'm just going to exclude this thing. Oh, actually, so see, carry on my thing. Let me just test the model. I mean, while we are waiting, how are we doing on time and all? Do we have any questions on the chat? I know we are way past time. No.
Yeah, let's see if there's any question. Okay, there's one question, right? How can I get a Copilot Studio?
Oh, okay. That's a question for you, not me. You're the community man.
All right, okay, so yeah, you can get your Copilot Studio trial. Probably I'm gonna share the link with you, and you can register for a trial version of. I think there's a developer version you can register for Power Platform, and from there you can also get the Copilot Studio. I'm gonna find look for the link. Then I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna share on the chat. Yeah.
Sounds good. I think this is still filling in my prompts. I have no idea why it's just doing that. Budget, purpose. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It's just weird. But anyways, so let me just move past this. I can show the other aspects. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this. Yeah, okay. In the interest of time. So I don't know. There's probably something wrong in the prompt, but so what this is supposed to just do is just be able to send you, like, when somebody does everything, send the approval, and the approval should show up in the approvals tab, and someone can approve. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you the finished version of the one I did for this travel assistance. So if you it's almost the same thing. The difference was just that I created the flow from these agents. So this was different, but it was the same concept. So I can, let's test it from here. Hopefully this also works. Plan business trip. Mhm. So I'm just gonna say to Chicago, 1000. I'll say 7 days. Actually, let's see 10 days. Let's see what it's going to say. And I would say sales meeting, generate travel plan, time. So it's able to generate some travel plans for me. Interesting. Okay. And so now I'm just going to say send for approval. I'm assuming that's fine for me. And yeah, so it's telling me, oh, yeah, it's the summary I'm going to prepare for approval. Again, you could have, you can make this more user friendly. I just return the JSON so I can be sure what it's sending. And then this is asking me if I want to send the approval for now or if I'm not fine with it, but I'm just going to click yes. And oops, okay. And this just decides not to work today. I think it's having an issue with my tool. My tool is connected. I have no idea what this problem is. But
Did you publish? Yes.
yes, I did. I did publish, but it's been sometimes it just gives me
Mm.
this issue with this tool thing. And I know I do have some, restrictions sometimes,
Okay.
but it can always work because it did work and I was able to get, some of this requests in. But anyways, if it does work for you, let me know. Anybody that runs it. But I know it did work before. It's just, sometimes we thank God we're able to go this far in this demo.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is mostly what I wanted to show. One final thing I wanted to show was the channels. I think I mentioned it, where
Mm.
if you are done, you can just, publish your agents. You can click on any of these channels to publish it into, and it's going to publish it there, and it will publish it, right? So that's mostly what I had today. And for resources, I could share the slides on the resources I meant with the slide. There are different resources on, how to go about this. Again, there is a link to the lab of all the everything I went through today. So in case if you want to try this on your own, and this is different, this is a learning part for Copilot Studio, all those things. And also if you want to dive into a, code centric sort of agent framework. These are different, resources around them. Oh. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for listening to me today. For everyone that was on the call, thank you. I really appreciate you so much. And I hope
Yeah.
you were able to learn 1802 from today's call. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. Hope really appreciate. That is so fantastic. Almost like okay, the section shouldn't be ended. Yes, that's great to hear. To see those what the AI agents can actually do within the Copilot Studio. I mean, I remember that when we started, and it started as a Power Virtual agent,
Yeah.
and now we have agents. You can create separate agents to perform
Yeah.
different tasks, and
Mm-hmm.
then within the Copilot Studio, and also you can also like connect to different data sources,
Mm-hmm.
like a SharePoint, Dataverse, and then some other databases. You can also connect your, and that's what makes generative also AI as well. Like in terms of the into different sources and be able
Very
to ground those sources into provide you those information from combine those different sources together, provide those required information. And one thing I want to ask about Hope is that there's been a concerns around compliances as well around
mm,
how the agents, I mean, the access to like sensitive data and
Yeah.
compliance to. So what's the big deal around these? How the our data is being protected? Not the agent be able to, go into the sensitive information that's
That's it.
not agent
Yeah.
as that kind of mean. So I know there's a lot around doing that on that. A lot of questions around that, and also there's also where you can. So what's the, let me just put it that way. Don't let me.
What
I
take?
mean,
What's my
yeah,
take?
yeah, on this
So
on this aspect, how
I
should
think
we generate or
mm,
create agents, and you know that will prevent or avoid any kind of providing any sensitive information, you know,
information. Yeah.
uh, to any third party or something.
Yeah. I think that's one of the very beautiful thing about using Copilot Studio,
Mm,
right? This with Copilot Studio, you are creating agents within your own Microsoft ecosystem within your own organizational sort of data and all that. And if you notice, even when you publish, it's going to put some restrictions around who you can publish to. If you want to maybe publish to the public, maybe I don't know, I haven't tried it, but one other thing is that you can set, user roles like RBAC control around agents you create on Copilot Studio just like you would do with every normal, maybe Microsoft 365 product, I'm assuming. But yeah, so you can set all those settings and limitations. That's one of the things. But I think just the fact that with Copilot Studio, you are very contained within your organization is
mhm,
one beautiful thing about it. If you were
mm,
to be using another platform outside of, Copilot Studio, outside of your organization kind of thing, then I will be very worried, especially if you're using maybe any of this local platform and all that.
mhm,
If you are going to be plugging in your organization data into those kind of
mm,
platforms, then that is
mm,
huge cause for alarm, right?
mm,
But at least, yeah. So, and even in Microsoft, one of the things they try to do let me I'm not speaking on behalf of Microsoft right now. I'm just assuming that one of the things they try to do is to ensure that your data stays within your organization, right? You don't,
mm.
they don't, they, I'm assuming again, not speaking of, they don't use your data to train other people's, model or train
Yeah,
the general
yeah,
model
that's,
itself, right?
oh,
So
okay.
that's one of the promise of the fact that you can use this
Mm,
enterprise, platform and then don't have to worry much about my data being used to being now in the public, which is the very huge problem. Like a lot of people are worried on right now, the fact that
mm.
whenever I'm running any data on ChatGPT, everything, I my data is just literally going everywhere. Right. So yeah. I don't know if
Yeah,
that answers your question.
yeah, that's good. That's good because it's been around there, like people are asking these questions around a lot around this part, Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, because we're over time, I don't want to run out of time. So yeah, thank you so much. Hope for
Hi.
these, and hopefully you have some time again to maybe we can discuss that probably to can add another section for this as well, on very related topics as well, and to further this. I really appreciate your time, and also I want to thank everyone for joining
Yeah.
this section.
Thank
So I'm
you.
gonna share the slides, the one we can share. Yeah. So via the register email for those who have registered via email, then we can share the slide there as well. And also this section is recorded, so we're going to share this section as well, recorded for those who are who came in I mean later and after this section started. Yeah, thanks so much. Hope and
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you
thanks
so much,
really appreciate it.
everyone.
Thank you so much and have a good day.